Hello and a very warm welcome to our viewers in Nigeria and around the globe. It is yet another scintillating edition of the program CAC Weekly, a weekly program that keeps you abreast on the activities and the achievement of the Corporate Affairs Commission. My name is Amina Jibril. Coming up, CAC prioritizes 3-hour registration circle for new companies before end of 2021. Chairman, Governing Board of CAC gets honored. As World Bank sets to measure doing business indicators to score regulators and better functioning institutions, Registrar General says he's upbeat. We'll be right back after this break. Do stay with us. Welcome back. The Corporate Affairs Commission, CAC, says following the successful deployment of an end-to-end registration module, it is now prioritizing the reduction of the registration circle for new companies to just 3 hours before the end of the year 2021. Registrar General and CEO of the Commission, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, gave the indication at a dinner in honor of His Excellency Ademola Siriki, Chairman, Governing Board, CAC, and Nigerian Ambassador Designate to the Kingdom of Spain. Now, to achieve the target, the Registrar General said the Commission was making arrangements to empower over 400 approving officers with working tools to process and approve registration applications, either from home or anywhere necessary. Garba Abubakar, who noted that the challenges of COVID-19 pandemic adversely hampered CAC's delivery timeline, however, said the Commission was resolutely committed to serving its customers, despite being forced to operate with less than 50% of its workforce since the advent of COVID-19. While bidding farewell to Ademola Siriki, the Registrar General said he received the news of his appointment with mixed feelings, as CAC was undoubtedly going to miss his tremendous support and guidance. He described him as a wonderful brother that the CAC family would lose, praying that God Almighty will bestow the Commission with a successor of the quality and humility comparable to Ademola Siriki's. He therefore wished him great success in his new assignment as he becomes Nigeria's #1 citizen in the Kingdom of Spain.
As I have said, CAC is a graded loser with the departure of the chairman, but the world is now a global village. Even though he may not be with us physically, we'll continue to contact him and benefit from his wisdom, guidance and directions. And we are looking forward to the Honorable Minister sending us another amiable and highly experienced chairman to take over from His Excellency.
In a keynote address, the Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment, Otumba Niyi Adebayo, described the outgoing CAC chairman as a man of immense pedigree and endowed with enormous potential to justify the confidence reposed in him by President Muhammadu Buhari. Speaking on the friendly working relationship that existed between the CAC family and the outgoing chairman, Otumba Niyi Adebayo enjoined other agencies to emulate the good example demonstrated by the CAC. He went further to commend the Registrar General for his commitment, dedication to duty, and above all, quality of work, urging him to sustain the tempo as well as offer similar support and cooperation to the outgoing CAC chairman's successor.
There were a few occasions when I had to call the RG based on complaints from people who had complaints. The RG would say, no, don't worry, Your Excellency, Honourable Minister, we have handled this, we have done this. I wouldn't be satisfied. But I would try to take him on, but he would argue with me. Then I'll just get on my phone and call the chairman. When I call the chairman will tell me, Honourable Minister, don't worry, we will settle it. RG, you made a statement. You said that you hope that we'll be able to find you another chairman like this. Yeah. Honestly, me too, I hope we will be able to find another chairman like this. My friend and brother, I congratulate you.
In her goodwill message at the event, the Minister of State for Industry, Trade and Investment, Ambassador Mariam Yalwaji Katagum, who took time to share her 10-year experience as ambassador under 3 Nigerian presidents, reminded the ambassador-designate on the need to justify the confidence reposed in him and to always act in accordance with the provisions of his letter of credence, which she said should serve as his guiding principle.
But as I'm giving you this advice, you're my brother, so you'll forgive me when once in a while I call you and say, Your Excellency, I hear this is happening in Spain. I'm also going to be not watching out, but giving you sisterly advice once in a while. So, in my own behalf and on behalf of my family, I wish you all the best. And I wish Her Excellency all the best. Spain is a lovely place. You're going to enjoy it. There'll be a lot of other diplomatic wives. Also, try and carve a niche for yourself.
Speaking in the same vein, the Minister of State for Health, Adeleke Olorunimbe Mamura, prayed God Almighty to guide his age-long friend in his new assignment and applauded the CAC for acknowledging the contributions of its chairman. In his remark at the event, His Excellency Ademola Siriki, Chairman, Governing Board CAC and Nigerian Ambassador-designate to the Kingdom of Spain, said despite the challenges of the COVID-19 that bedeviled them upon their appointment, the harmonious working relationship cultivated enabled them to surmount all of the challenges as well as initiate series of reform initiatives. He revealed that some of the new initiatives coming on board include the mandatory requirement for obtaining letter of good standing from the CAC for procurement purposes. Under the arrangement, he said companies bidding for government contracts must obtain letter of good standing from the Commission in a bid to further strengthen the fight against corruption. Ademola Siriki further revealed that a new product, optional notification alert system, was also being prioritized and that under the arrangement, companies can elect to be notified whenever changes were made in their structure at the CAC. He said all the new innovations were in their final stages and therefore applauded the Registrar General, whom he said he was very pleased with, for his immense support and cooperation in that direction. The Nigerian ambassador-designate to the Kingdom of Spain thanked all well-wishers and pledged to make Nigerians proud as he sets to start his new assignment. He prayed Almighty God to bestow the CAC with a good successor to enable it to achieve its objectives.
To serve Nigeria, you must be ready to step on toes. There's nobody who will serve Nigeria with a smile on your face all the time. You have to frown at some point. Because the Nigerianism in all of us is what is driving us in most cases. And really, that is what CAC today stands for. There must be discipline at all times in every institution. Weakening our institutions have invariably weakened the country, and the best way forward is to improve on our strong ability, on our drive, and of course, to be patriots. We need a lot of patriots around. That's the best means of moving the country forward.
Among a host of other speakers at the occasion, which was well attended by members of the Federal Executive Council, legislators, heads of agencies, and captains of industry, were Mazi Nnamdi Anthony, ICANN representative who spoke on behalf of the CAC board members, and Mrs. Gertrude Akalunu, Director, Customer Service CAC, who gave the vote of thanks. High point at the occasion was the award presentation by the CAC to His Excellency Ademola Siriki in recognition of his meritorious service to the CAC and the nation. We say a very big congratulations to the ambassador-designate and kudos to the CAC family for the appreciation. And now to our regular interview segment. The World Bank Doing Business 2020 report says, and I quote, "Rules create an environment where new entrants with drive and innovative ideas can get started in business and where productive firms can invest, expand, and create new jobs. The role of government policy in the daily operations of small and medium-sized domestic firms is a central focus of the Doing Business data. The objective is to encourage regulation that is efficient, transparent, and easy to implement so that businesses can thrive. The Registrar General and CEO of the CAC, Alhaji Garba Abubakar, in a chat with CAC Weekly, expresses huge optimism that the ongoing CAC reform initiatives will greatly contribute in improving Nigeria's ranking.
Alhaji Garba Abubakar, Registrar General Corporate Affairs Commission, thank you once again for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Okay, so let's start with the collaboration with the NUC. There was a courtesy call recently by the Executive Secretary of the NUC to the Commission, and they were seeking collaboration with the Commission to checkmate the sharp practices being perpetrated by some private universities. Maybe you talk us through about the whole collaboration.
Well, that was a normal thing. Usually, agencies, we exchange visits, we collaborate with each other, and as the agency responsible for the registration, incorporation, regulation of the formation and management of companies in Nigeria and other entities, before we establish any university, other than universities established by Act of Parliament, you have to register with CAC. So the visit was normal. They had some concerns over the proliferation of unlicensed universities. In the past, anybody can walk into CAC and register a university. The assumption was when you register, you will approach NUC to get the license to operate. But so many people were not doing that. Some had opened shops. They have been issuing degrees without a valid license from NUC. So on that account, NUC decided to escalate the matter to CAC, and we discussed the issues exhaustively. The Tertiary Education Act is clear as to who is eligible to establish a university. Either a company or an incorporated trustee. But that company or incorporated trustee will not be the vehicle that will run the university. So NUC now issued a directive that for you to operate as a university, you must do it as a company limited by guarantee. The implication of that is whatever income you make will be applied strictly to pursue the objective of the university. No portion of that income will be shared by the members in form of dividends. This was contrary to the practice in the past. And globally, that is the best practice. Most educational institutions, particularly tertiary educational institutions, are established for good causes.
But it's a private university, owned by private people.
It doesn't matter. This is the directive of NUC. CAC didn't issue the directive. And check this practice in other countries. Because how much are you going to charge? Students are enrolling. When they enroll, they pay school fees. You use it to run the school, to pay the teachers. At the end of the day, you want to take dividend from that. Well, this is the policy direction. And as a commission, the law is clear that apart from the requirements enshrined in the Companies on Allied Matters Act, the commission has a responsibility to enforce the requirements of any other law with respect to the registration of companies or any other entity. So what we have done is to give effect to the regulations and laws setting up NUC. And if anybody has any issue with that, it's not CAC that they should approach. Okay. They should go to NUC and to sort it out. And as part of measures of curbing the activities of these touts, we will not even register any university without an approval in principle from NUC. We needed to tell the public what they need to know so that somebody will not come and reserve a name as private limited company. When he approaches NUC, NUC will tell him to come back and do limited by guarantee. To save them the burden, we said, look, let's outline all the requirements. The first one will allow you to reserve the name, but that reservation must be done as a company limited by guarantee. After you have reserved the name, then you approach NUC. They have their own requirements. If they are satisfied that you have substantially met their requirements, they will issue your approval in principle. With the approval in principle, CAC will proceed to register the company for you. So that, and I don't see NUC issuing any approval in principle to somebody that has not satisfied their requirements. So the likelihood of somebody operating without a license will not even arise.
Okay.
So there must have been substantial compliance with the requirements of NUC before they issued the approval in principle. So this is what we have done. I don't see any controversy. Okay. The only controversy is for those that think university education is a business and they can operate it and run it as a business. So the policy direction has changed.
Okay.
If that was a practice in the past, NUC has changed that. And our role is to enforce this new policy direction by NUC. And as a government organization, we have this responsibility to enforce the requirements of any other law or the regulation of other government agencies. So this is simply what we have done. And we have to support them because we know what is happening. We should encourage that. Somebody has spent money undergoing a 5-year degree program. At the end of the program, he was now told that that university was not accredited. So the whole money, the whole time spent is wasted. So I think these are measures that will even help Nigerians.
Okay, what about those who will say, is the commission biting more than it could chew by helping people to enforce their rules? I mean, their rules.
It's the law that mandates us to do that.
Okay.
In fact, the law is clear that in addition to the requirements in the Companies and Allied Matters Act, with respect to registration or formation of companies or other entities, we shall enforce the requirement of other laws. So this is simply what we are doing. Okay. And we are not biting more than we can chew because it's very easy. This arrangement will not start with NUC. We have similar arrangement with the Central Bank of Nigeria. Okay. We don't register a bank, either microfinance or any commercial bank or any bureau de change without an approval in principle from CBN. So the applicant, after reserving the name, has to approach CBN. In their own case, you even have to deposit the equivalent of the share capital. So this is not new. We are used to this. And as I have said, we are a government organization. Okay. We have a responsibility to support other government agencies to enforce their mandates.
Okay, now let's go to the ease of doing business. The ranking for 2020 was Nigeria ranked 131 out of 146, which is a great achievement. We do all understand that the questionnaires are already out. What do you think will be the indices to determine the next ranking?
Well,
or the parameters to be used?
No, what I can say is we have recorded a lot of strides since the last ranking. And I can see us improving further on the ranking because as at the time of the last ranking, we didn't have an end-to-end electronic solution. We didn't have a new Companies and Allied Matters Act that allows the owners of the entity to register the entity themselves and submit a statement of compliance as opposed to a statutory declaration that must be made by a legal practitioner. We didn't have integration with the FIRS that allows our certificate to come out with the tax identification number. The World Bank looks not just at the time it takes to register. They have 3 indices. One, the number of processes an applicant has to undergo to get the company registered. Secondly, the cost of registration. And thirdly, the time. A number of processes. Most of the processes have been collapsed. You can begin and end using the same interface. You pay your stamp duty on the same interface. When the certificate is issued, it comes out with your TIN. And unlike before, where the certificate had to be printed in our office and sent to the customer either by courier or before the courier system, he had to come and collect it physically in CAC. That is no longer the case. The certificate is sent electronically to the customer. You print it. Sometimes you don't even have to print it. You can save it on your device. So a lot of time has been cut. The processes have been collapsed. We have fewer processes as opposed to what we had before. And the integration with the FIRS
enables us to achieve two things. One, stamp duty is paid electronically, and the documents are stamped electronically. In the past, customers had to take these documents physically to a virus. In fact, there was a time to reduce the time cycle. CAC had to provide office accommodation to stamp duty officers within its premises. So we've taken it further to electronic format of paying stamp duty. We've further taken in it to even have the tax identification number on the certificate, so that after the registration, you don't even have to go and submit your incorporation documents to collect TIN. Additional thing that has happened with the new law is you don't need a statement of compliance. Sorry, a statutory declaration of compliance. So as the owner of the entity, you don't need the involvement of anybody to register your company. So the cost element that will have gone on the payment of professionals is completely eliminated for those that choose to do it directly. So, and from our own analysis, the major cost component based on what the World Bank had reported in the past was actually the cost of professional service. World Bank looks at a company with share capital threshold of about 5 million naira. In CAC, the cost of registration of such a company, what do you pay to CAC to register such a company, is about 30,000 naira. And you pay stamp duty of about 37,500. But most often, the cost of registration, the professionals' cost of professional service is almost equal to or more than this statutory fees. So the cost element on professional service is completely eliminated for those that choose to come directly. And if you choose to go through a professional, that's your own option. So World Bank will not take account of that. Then the issue of seal. In the past, it was a requirement. It was a mandatory requirement that a company must have a seal. The law has relaxed it. World Bank used to count that as a process. So the procurement of a seal is now optional. And all these things are things that are visible. They are in the law, and the World Bank will take cognizance of that. Okay. So the only area you may say we may have some downside maybe is the time. Because of the various restrictions to curb the spread of COVID-19, government issued directive that officers on level 12 and below should stay at home. And that is a significant reduction, because the number of level 12 officers and below in our employment constitute about 62% of our total workforce. So the available staff that are working, they are just about 25%. So majority of the staff are at home, but despite that, our service timeline is 48 hours. And even when the commission had 24-hour service timeline, World Bank didn't accept that, because World Bank relies on stakeholder validation. The last report that you mentioned, the last ranking, recorded about 5 days as the average time for registration. So now that this thing, even when we had 24 hours, because they didn't accept the 24 hours for some other reasons. But those reasons are no longer there, because some of the reasons were because somebody has to come to CSC to collect certificate, somebody has to do a seal, somebody has to go and collect TIN from FIRS. All these things are electronic. Seal is now optional. So these are favorable areas that will even improve our ranking.
So you're confident that
very confident. The questionnaire
is
is out, and we're filling this questionnaire. And our stakeholders, I can assure you, will validate this, because these are practical issues that everybody knows. They access this service. We didn't want to sound, because even now, a lot of companies are registered within 24 hours. But we couldn't do all within 24 hours. So we have to be realistic. We can't publish 24 hours if we cannot meet 24 hours. So by the time we're able to provide mobile devices to our staff, such as laptops, so that other staff that are at home can work from anywhere, that may not happen before the end of the review, which is going to happen by the end of April. So we're hoping that after that period, we'll have procured enough laptops and staff can work from anywhere. But on the ranking, I can assure you, based on what we have done, based on the improvements I have outlined, we are going to move further on the ranking. But
many
you,
steps?
you have to bear in mind that,
How many steps do you think we are going to move?
well, I won't say because other countries are not sleeping.
Alhaji Garba Abubakar, Register General Corporate Affairs Commission, thank you very much indeed for your time.
Thank
This
you
is the
for
third
having
time
me.
we're having you back to back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.
And that brings us to a close on this week's edition of the program CAC Weekly. We do hope you enjoyed watching. Now, for comments and inquiries, please take advantage of our social media handles and our helplines. Remember, on Twitter, it is at CAC Nigeria 1. On Instagram and Facebook, it is Corporate Affairs Commission. Our email is cservice@cac.gov.ng. You could visit our website on www.cac.gov.ng. You could also reach us via our helplines on 081-822-99016 or 081-822-98971 or 090-874-01598, 090-874-01599 and 090-874-01600. Do join us next week for yet another interesting edition of the program. Same time, same station. From me, Amina Jibril, and the whole team here, it is bye for now.